Do we choose to fail and regather our energy and redirect our energy into something better for today? Or do we just quit and just not do anything about it? But then guess what? I will lay down tonight hating myself if I quit. And that's the difference between quitting and strategic failure.
And who, at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat.
Welcome back to the Winter Arc Podcast. My name is Grant, and today I'm doing a journal entry, and honestly, I'm going to be honest with you guys today. I failed. Now, what does that mean? What does it mean that I failed? I'm still here producing the podcast, right? Yeah, but there was a lot of things today that just my emotional energy level was just drained today for whatever reason. I think that we can all associate with that in some way, shape, or form, but I realized that I was like, you know what? I'm not going to make it back in time to be able to make my video podcast. I'm not going to be able to set up in time. I'm not going to be able to even enjoy the rest of the evening with my wife and stuff. And so I realized, do I fail strategically and still produce something, even if it's not the thing that I originally wanted to create today? Or do I quit? Do I give up? So I had that choice. What's better to do? Is it better to redirect my energy for the day and redirect it into just an audio podcast and just a journal entry? Or do I just quit because I wasn't able to make my video entry today? Well, the reality is that, for instance, for my video entry, and I plan to still produce it sometime this week at some point, but for my video entry, I was going to talk about productivity versus toxic productivity. And I think this actually ties into this idea of this niche idea about there's a difference between quitting and failing. Like, for instance, as I said, I failed at making a video podcast today, but I didn't quit. I didn't quit my podcast. I didn't quit my daily journals. I didn't quit my daily podcast, And so what I decided to do in the moment, and this is just me trying to kind of like psych myself up and be like, you know what, you can still do this. You can still make something out of this, even though it feels emotionally spent already, is the fact that I chose in the decision in the moment to either, okay, do I give up and just like be like, you know what, I'll just make something tomorrow, make up for it. I'll just make something greater or something like that, or just make something of better worth or something. Or I can make this episode tonight and talk about the truth about how my day was. And I think that's actually the whole point of this podcast. Sure, I've been able to keep up with it pretty well already, and I've been able to talk about a lot of different topics, but I think this is where it gets real. And I think this is the whole point of the winter arc, for my winter arc at least, for this podcast in general, is the fact that, like, am I going to quit in the moment when it feels rough, when it feels like I wasn't able to produce the thing that I planned, when it feels like everything that I was trying to prepare for kind of fell apart at the last minute? No, I'm not going to quit, because you know what? It's not going to end the way I see my productivity, my motivations, and what I want to do with those things. And so when it comes to like this episode in general, I think that this is just the fact that there's a lot that goes on in life. And going back to the idea of productivity versus toxic productivity of what I was going to make into a video podcast today, is the fact that I could be really toxic and still push myself to the limit and go to bed with myself angry and go to bed with myself upset. Even though I would have been able to make the video podcast, I would have been angry at myself because I pushed myself beyond my own limit. And I think that that's actually a valuable lesson to learn. I think it's a valuable lesson to be like, you know what? I might have failed in this area today, but I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to stand down. I'm still going to be able to do the regular things of life and the regular routine of life and the regular habits I've been trying to build up. And so I can either choose to quit, and I can either choose to just forget it all and just be like, you know what, it doesn't really matter. Or I can know that it matters. It matters what I attend to, as I was talking about earlier last week, is the fact that oftentimes our bad habits continue to flourish and continue to actually make us stagnant in our habits and our habit making and our motivations, because oftentimes it's not what we attend to. We're not attending to our motivations. And so what does that mean? So like, for instance, today, this is a good example for the podcast. I could have been like, you know what? it isn't what I wanted. It isn't the perfection that I wanted today. So I'm just going to give up. No, I'm going to still make a podcast episode and still talk about the fact that today was rough. But I was still able to make an episode about the fact that there's a difference between quitting and failure. And there's a difference between, honestly, realizing, and I think this is something that I've realized today about myself, about the fact that I'm not superhuman and that no one is. And then I think that's another root of toxic productivity that actually happens, because oftentimes we associate productivity with this type of idea that we need to be this kind of like superhero, where I'm like, for instance, if you're thinking of like the entrepreneur kind, you're thinking of, I need to like rationalize and I need to like basically make everything as efficient as possible in my entire life. But guess what? That's not reality. And the 21st century American is actually pretty productive. Like, think about it. Think about all the things you juggle in your daily life and you say you're not productive. And I'm talking to myself too, because this is something I had to remind myself too, of the fact of, you know what? I may not be where I want to be in life. So I can either stay there and be sorry for myself, or I can continue to build up the good habits now and realize and be patient with myself. That's the key thing. Be patient with myself and realize that toxic productivity is not going to solve my problems. And realize that I'm not going to quit even in the midst of like being emotionally spent for the day, or just being physically tired or whatever. It doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, you can either be impatient with yourself and push yourself to the limit and then hate yourself at the end of the night, or you can still accomplish your goals. It may not be exactly the way you envisioned it. It may not be the perfection that you envisioned, because remember, as I said, perfection is a killer. You're not going to be perfect. No one's perfect. It's actually a form of selfishness when you think that I can be perfect and I can produce this perfect video podcast every week the same way every single time. That's not reality, Grant. And that's not reality to whoever's listening. That routine that you have for yourself, like, that gets disrupted by just daily life, and that's okay. And I think that we need to be honest with that fact, because, like, for instance, there's a lot of people, I've been like engaging with people on X and stuff like that off and on with other productivity influencers. And a lot of what they say is stuff like, oh, go to the gym at 6 a.m., go to work, and then go to the gym afterwards and sleep and repeat. Well, you're just going to burn yourself out, because you're going to go to bed hating yourself, and you're just not going to be happy with yourself, because you weren't able to strategically fail. You weren't able to be like, I'm going to be patient with myself, and I'm still going to accomplish a goal today, and I'm still going to pursue, because guess what? Something is better than nothing. And so you can either pursue at full 100%, or you can realize, you know what? Today I'm at 40%. And I'm going to realize that I can do this one goal, but maybe I can't do this other goal today. And I think that's okay. Because oftentimes we try to stress ourselves out to the point of exhaustion, especially in American culture. But I just hope that this was just like an honest, just like behind the scenes of the fact that like, every single one of us struggles with stuff like this. Every single one of us struggles with this pressure that we put on ourselves. And so we can either break or we can adapt, be patient with ourselves, and be able to put our head to the pillow and feel like, I still accomplished something. It may not be exactly what I wanted, but I still accomplished something. So the real question is, are you going to fail or are you going to quit? Because failing is just sure of a lot better than quitting.